only here that ethics basically are human beings ka moral principles, moral principles of human being. That's what we call as ethics. What should be done, what should not be done, right and wrong, fairness, justice, everything comes under human ethics, which we say that we incorporate that into a child from the beginning, right, of his birth. Now, when you talk about AI ethics, I repeat again that these are the principles, now the values which we try to incorporate it into the AI systems. Why? Because we are taking help from him for every decision. I have to decide on a medical diagnosis ka solution. I take help from AI. When I talk about some corporate law regarding which decision I have to make, I take help from AI. So if AI is unethical, then all your decisions will be unethical, wrong, not fair, not transparent. Right. So that is why when you are incorporating AI as your decision maker, we say that AI are systems which is taking decisions in place of humans. So अगर वो decision making power आप उसको दे रहे हो कि वो मुझे solutions design करके दे, so in that case we should be able to incorporate the values and the ethics in every moment of his design and development. हर step पे we should incorporate that. Otherwise we will not be getting what we want. Right? So it will not be aligned with the human values. That's what we want to say. Correct? That is what is AI ethics all about. And that is because of the reason that now we are trying to incorporate it everywhere in our lives. We need to focus on that in true sense. Okay? Now moving down to the next part, that is what are my major. Okay, let's take an example here. Like in 2018, an AI system was used in the USA to allocate care for nearly 200 million patients. It was found that the system provided a lower standard of care to Black patients, assigning them lower risk scores than the white patients. Okay? This resulted in the Black patients having less access to the necessary care, which is not right. This resulted in Black patients having less access to necessary care. The problem stemmed from the AI algorithm predicting risk based on healthcare costs. That healthcare costs pay Black people do not invest or are unable to invest more. That was the main thing. The data on the Black patients, I've highlighted that part. Now, whatever AI is giving us a solution, so we say AI learned to offer them lower standards of treatment. Although the system was corrected after the issue was identified, the critical question remains that who is responsible for it? अब you cannot go and tell later कि अरे मुझे तो solution AI system ने दिया था. So I'm not responsible. I did whatever they told me to do. That we cannot do, right? So who is responsible? One aspect of it is the developer who is developing the system, because we are saying that we are incorporating the intelligence into the system. So it is me who is responsible. Number one. And number two, that incorporation of intelligence is based on the data being given to it. So the data on the Black patients, which was given to the system in order to see, okay, how much AI your Black patients are spending on the healthcare, या उनका trend कैसा है, क्या है, क्या नहीं है, how much they do get ill and how much they are able to afford and all that. That data on the Black patients is causing that. अब वो गलत भी नहीं होगा शायद, because it might be something of that sort in the past 5 years. But जरूरी तो नहीं है in the next coming 10 years or 15 years, every time you will have the Black patients, spending less on the healthcare systems. Right? So this is a problem wherein a human at times can see and decide कि नहीं, the trend is changing. So we have to accordingly change our decisions also. There's a change. है ना? There's a change in the air. Gay marriages they are talking about. There's a change in the air. But if your AI system is based on on a different line of ethics, then your decision might be on the different line. Okay. So based on that, they have discussed about 5 pillars of AI ethics. Talks about the more common, major common issues itself, major common pointers itself. But just that we have to understand these points and should be ready to answer in terms of one-liners in this. The 5 pillars. First, they talk about explainability. That means the AI systems transparency is very important here. Right? We have to allow the users to understand how the algorithms is making decisions. आप उसको randomly बस okay, once he has said and we go about it, we cannot do that. You are going to trust a human on basis of what? जैसे हम कहते हैं ना, let's go and talk to that person if I have a problem, I need a solution. So I go to somebody and talk about it and say, please help. Right? अगर वो बंदा जो आपको help कर रहा है, if he is unable to, what do you say? He's unable to give an explanation to his solution, that this is the reason I'm giving you the solution. Supposingly you go to a career counselor and you say, okay, just give me some options. I'm confused which options to go for after my class 10th or class 12th. So if that person is able to give you the solution with the reasoning that I'm telling you this because of this, I'm telling you this because of this, then it's absolutely fine. But if that is missing, then the trust issues are obviously there. Then you should not trust that kind of an AI system. You should not believe the solutions of that AI system. They might not be very much correct or as per the ethics or as per the way it should be.
Ikshika, ma'am,
Yeah.
can you tell me which topic are we doing today? Like,
Yeah, we are actually focusing on the chapter which is your AI ethics and values.
okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
And Saturday, now that everybody is there, on Saturday, I intend to do the machine learning, a very, very important one, because there we talk about certain algorithms like the K nearest neighbor and all that. So please be available on Saturday for one more time. Okay, morning.
Sure,
Fine?
ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. Right? So initially, part we discussed about ethics from the human point of view and why we need to incorporate that in AI systems also, because we talk about making him as my decision maker nowadays. So that is why incorporating the ethics and the values into the AI system is also very, very important. And today in the TOI paper, I am not aware about the other, but Times of India has huge articles on AI ethics and AI career and what all other things they're talking about. If you are having that paper, please give it a read. Otherwise, I'll send you the clicks. Do tell me if you don't. Okay, excellent articles. We must read about it. So coming back to the pillars, we have first of all is the explainability. So if you trust somebody for a decision, that person should be able to give reasons. कि ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, हाँ मेरा मन किया तो मैंने ऐसे बोल दिया. That should not be the case. Okay. Next is the fairness. So the second pillar which we look forward to is the fairness. Okay. So here we are talking about, we'll go into the details of the bias also later. But the major thing what they are talking about here is I should be able to eliminate all the algorithmic based bias on my machine learning models. Okay. And based on what? Based on race, based on gender, based on sexual orientation, disability, socioeconomic class, all these areas you have to focus. If there is a AI model which is helping the lawyers, then or the judge, Supreme Court judge, then if you have a system which is not fair, it's going to be dangerous. If somebody is poor, that man is always blamed, and if somebody is rich, he goes away with that, कुछ भी करके, right? So ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. Or it should not be based on any race. It should not be based on any gender. Correct? So that is why the fairness is one of the pillars of the AI ethics we talk about. Robustness is not only for AI ethics. Robustness is a pillar for any system you develop. You are making a program, it should be robust. That is, it is able to perform and give you accurate results, reliable results under every given situation. If not, I will never call it a robust program. Okay. Robust is a term not only coming up now, robust is a term which we use from the generation when we were starting to write programs. We always used to say that the program should be robust. Let me give you an example of the robust program as a simple writing of a program. Supposingly, I'm talking about a ATM vending machine. Okay, you inserted the card, you fed in the PIN number, and light chala gaya. Okay, electricity off, there's no generator based system. So you're stuck. Your PIN has been entered, so the money has been subtracted from your account but not thrown to you because the machine got stuck. Okay, so that may happen if there are no generators or something. But then what is the way to
Excuse
take care of
me,
that?
ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, Nasha?
Ma'am, I have to leave now.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
Right? So what is the thing that we are talking about here is when the electricity connection comes back, your system should be able to get back to the situation from where it was switched off. Right? Earlier, it used to be the card is also not thrown back. So card is inside, you are stuck, your money is deducted from the account, but it's not given out to you. You are in a real mess. आपको फ्लाइट पकड़नी है, you are here at the ATM center to take out money and then you get stuck. कब लाइट आएगा, कब चीज will be functional, we don't know. Right? So robustness takes care of these kind of situations. Another small example, when we are asked to write a program, we always say input based if there's a program. So system or the program should be taking care of every input. We don't expect the user to be intelligent enough कि अगर मैंने बोला enter a choice तो वो ऊपर से देख के 1 2 3 4 अंडरस्टैंड करके 1 2 3 4 ही एंटर करेगा. He may enter a number by mistake also, or I mean typing error, or intentionally does 30 0 -1. Your program should be able to take care of that. If it is, then it is robust. Okay, so the robust term applies to every situation कि वो accurate or reliable result provide करे in every situation. That should not be situation specific. Okay, next one is transparency. Transparency talks about, again, that it should provide me documentation, detail about on what basis as the algorithm been taking the decisions. Okay, the transparent AI framework provide clear documentation, disclosure, and communication about the data, the algorithms, and the decision-making process. Maybe not possible all the time, but yes, they do. They must do it. If you trust that system, very good. If you don't trust that system, in that case, there should be something on which we can rely upon कि मैं जाके पढ़ सकूं. Like ChatGPT को पूछा, ChatGPT ने आंसर दिया and you went by that answer. एग्जाम में लिखा, मैम ने काट दिया. This is wrong. तो यूज से ChatGPT ने तो मुझे बताया था. Right? Then who is like accountable for it? Correct. So we always say that transparency. There should be documentation. कि किस basis पे the decision has been taken. That answer has been given to you. And of course, another important thing, very, very important thing, privacy. Because all the thing which is happening with the AI, it's happening on the data, and the data is collected from the user's personal information at times. So that is something which needs to be controlled. The right of the individual needs to be taken care of. Okay, so 5 pillars: explainability, fairness, robustness, transparency, and privacy. Right? Next, we move on to the AI bias and the concern topics about it, like the bias awareness. How do you know that there's bias? Then how do you mitigate that? How do you take care of it? वो biasness को overcome करो. What are the various types of biasness happening? Which area में? User में है, algorithm में है, data में bias है, कहाँ पे bias है? So what are the places where the bias exists? Right? So again, what does a bias mean? My teacher is biased towards that child, towards my friend. उसको हमेशा marks मिल जाते हैं even if she doesn't do the work. We use this term very often. We use this kind of situation very often. Okay, so bias basically means preference. So you are giving a preference or you have a tendency towards giving a preference to someone over others. Like I said, when they talk about healthcare systems, so the white people are getting preferred care, better options, better cost, or you can say the top class of the things as compared to the blacks, which should not happen. Okay. So it can lead to unfair treatment or decisions based on factors like personal beliefs, past experiences, or stereotypes. So bias can create a havoc in the solution being provided to you by AI. It has to be taken care of. Right? Now, bias awareness means understanding that the AI system might have unfair preferences because of the different things like the information they were taught with, the rules they follow, or the ideas they were built upon. So you should be aware of the fact that biasness can be there. The way humans have bias, because we are trying to incorporate that intelligence of humans into systems, then the systems might also have biasness. Okay? Now here we say that अब कहाँ पे हो सकता है वो bias? Right? Bias can be found in the initial training data. The data with which you're training the system. We have seen machine learning में, we are talking about the labeled data set. If I talk about in terms of very basic system, so supervised learning के अंदर we are saying we are providing you with a labeled data set. And the labeled data set says for the criminal records or something, every black person is a thief. Every dark complexion person is a thief. And normal complexion person is not. If that kind of a biased data has been provided to him, obviously he will train to be like that. Okay. The algorithm which it creates, obviously based on the training data itself, वहां पे biasness create हुआ because of whatever reason. Okay. Or the predictions the algorithm produces. If the bias goes unaddressed, it hinders the people's ability to participate in the economy and the society. And overall, it reduces the AI's potential. You will never go back to that model where you are getting a biased answer. And like in a family also, if you feel that your mother always prefers your brother, I mean the other sibling which you have, कुछ भी वो करे आप तो कुछ नहीं बोलते उसको. Right. So next time onwards, you will never go to your mother to maybe when you have a fight with your sibling. You may go to your father who may not be biased about it. Right. So very simple. The potential of the AI is completely reduced. आप जाओगे ही नहीं उसके पास. You will not ask for the solution. Okay. Now moving further, where are the sources? What we were talking about. Now coming to the actual terms of it. The training data bias, the logarithmic bias, and the cognitive bias. Okay. Cognitive is the person involved. Okay. Training data is you have picked up the data from a source which shows biasness by chance. It's not your fault. The data itself is biased. पिछले 15 साल का डेटा है, 20 साल का डेटा है, 50 साल का डेटा है, and previously in the previous era, in the previous years, that kind of a biasness prevailed in the society, hence the data has that biasness. Okay, you're not talking about a day or two ka data. You may talk about 50 years, 100 years ka data. Right, so the preset exists. Biasness exists in that data. So you have to find out कि भैया वो years निकाल दो या फिर उसको मॉडिफाई करो उस डेटा को या उस डेटा को यूज मत करो if it is having that bias. Now, when you are using the flawed training data, it can result into the algorithms के अंदर भी they may produce errors, they may produce unfair outcomes or amplify the bias. Data was already biased. Now, based on that, when you're working on the algorithm, there also the bias comes into place and gets amplified. That is also a problem which may lead to errors too at times कि गलत जगह पे गलत चीज it's talking about. Okay. Third one is the cognitive thing. Cognitive is when people process the information and make judgments. And they are influenced by their experiences and what they saw, what they faced in life. Like if you are a person who are in a family where there's a broken marriage. Okay, you did not have a good relationship with your parents, or they themselves did not have a good relationship amongst them. Now, you actually develop a different kind of a notion towards marriage. Towards, if you are a female, then towards male. If you are a male, then towards female at a particular age. ठीक है, so नजरिया which we say ना, the नजरिया बदल जाता है because आपका experience, past experiences talk about things which are not natural or normal. It's very, very common. Okay. So when a person who is like this and he is working on a data and he is developing a system, then the biasness is easily passed to the AI system also. Because वो उसी तरीके से डेटा पिक करेगा, उसी तरीके से काम करेगा. Okay? So 3 sources of bias: the data, the algorithm, and the human. Human को उन्होंने they have given the cognitive because वो human brain के regarding बात कर रहा है. As such, it is the people's biasness basically, which is coming into play. The data, the algorithm, and the people. Certain examples which I've picked up because I thought that it's going to be interesting that these biasness do exist. And that is why they have taken up it so seriously that it should not happen. Otherwise, तो बहुत गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. We are heavily dependent on AI systems nowadays. And in the coming days, it's going to be even more. So it's better that we talk about it now and take care of it. Okay? So like few examples I've taken, there are more in your textbook, in your reference material. You can go through that. Online advertising. So here they talk about that there's this independent research at Mellon University revealed that Google's online advertising system displayed high-paying positions to males only, more often than to women. Okay, so appointment के लिए जब बात आती है, so males are preferred over women. So if you are having a AI system which is appointing or analyzing the applications and categorizing them, okay, these are selected, these are not selected. So there you may find जो high paying jobs है, वहाँ पे more preference has been given to the males as compared to the females. And this has actually happened. Okay, so this bias is basically reinforcing job role gender bias. Very much prevalent in one of the Google's advertising system. Fine. Then comes image generation. Isme there's this AI art generation application Mid-Journey. When asked to create images of people in specialized professions, again, it showed both younger and older people, but the older people were always men, reinforcing gender bias again with the role of women in the workplace. So we say that many of women leave jobs post their once they have a child or a baby, right? So that is why when you are talking about images of specialized professionals, like even nowadays when we get books or characters pictures for children, एक फायर टेंडर का अगर पिक्चर होगा, फायर टीम, फायर टेंडरिंग टीम और बॉम्ब स्क्वाड का अगर पिक्चर होगा, तो देयर यू हार्डली फाइंड women, है ना? सो बच्चा भी he also develops with that kind of a notion कि okay, these jobs are meant for the boys and these jobs are meant for the girls, right? Very much existing. So that is another example. Facial recognition systems exhibit bias against certain demographic groups. Again, the dark people and the white people, darker skin tones. Fine. So that is existing. AI-powered credit scoring systems are used by financial institutions, which is happening and existing. So when you have to find the eligibility for a loan, somebody has applied for the loan and now you want to see whether that person is eligible or not. So आपने उसका application सारा data AI system को दिया. Now AI system, if he is biased, then there could be some problems. So what are they talking about here? Those systems have been found to exhibit biasness that disproportionately disadvantage certain demographic groups, such as the low-income individual and people of color. So if there are two persons who have applied for the loan, one person with a very heavy background, mother is a lawyer and father is a doctor, and or a businessman, already existing businessman, and the person has applied for a loan. And there's another person who is starting up with a startup. कोई background नहीं है उसका, but the startup is very promising as such. Definitely will do good later. But then AI system has been programmed in such a manner that he is talking about the first person only. क्यों? क्योंकि first of all he is a man maybe, and the second startup was by a woman. So that one factor. Second is he's maybe checking about the low income individual and a high income individual, because that person already has a high income group available, I mean, in his family. So they may prefer that. Loan availability, I mean, loan payment ka possibility is better in that person's case. So I'll offer the loan to him. Not going into the actual details, जिसके basis पे होना चाहिए loan का payment, loan का decision, right? So these are certain examples of real life stories where the AI powered systems are working and they are showing biasness. जिसको कि tackle करना चाहिए. So what we are trying to say is that because we are expecting you people to come up with solutions in later of your career, so you must understand that your systems should be bias free. जिस तरीके से आप उसको develop करो. Now, how do you mitigate the biasness which is already there in the AI systems? Or when you develop a new one, so what all things you have to be taken care of? Diverse data. ठीक है, जिससे you are teaching AI that data should be diverse. It should not be one area specific or one kind of data and the other kind of information you're not giving. All sorts of information and all sorts of viewpoints, examples should be given to the system to learn from. Then the possibility of biasness becomes lesser. Okay, we need to find out, in spite of doing all that, still if we find that there is bias happening, so we should be detecting that biasness. We should be not blindly taking AI ka decision. He has said it must be correct. Okay, so there should be a team of people who kind of check on it. जैसे हम लोग quality checks के लिए team बनाते थे पहले, अब AI systems के quality check के लिए, which is talking about biasness, वो होना चाहिए. So that before you release that thing in the market, it is being thoroughly checked for. Fair algorithms, of course, जब आपका algorithm fair systems पे काम करेगा, then your output definitely will be fair. Being transparent, your system should be able to explain the reason why has it taken this decision. The way you ask your parents, क्यों? If they say no, you say why. And if they give you a proper reason, then you keep quiet. कि ठीक है, चलो, justified. That is why when you are asking somebody to give a decision, that person should be able to justify that also. Okay? An inclusive team. Just we say all parties, all groups should be included. Okay? In a team which is creating an AI system so that you get all sorts of perspectives. Okay? So your team should not be only made up of different category of people, कि भाई अलग सा. नहीं. हर तरह के लोगों को involve करो so that you get to understand every background pretty well. These kind of things can be done in order